There comes a moment in every human life when something inside whispers, enough. I can't live like this anymore. I was meant for more. That whisper is not weakness. That whisper is your soul asking you to raise your standards. Every transformation in history, every breakthrough, every success story started with one moment of decision, the moment when a human being changed what they were willing to tolerate. Nothing changes until you change your standards. Not your goals, not your wishes, not your hopes. Your standards. Most people set goals, but goals do not shape your life. Standards do. Goals exist in the future. Standards live in the present. Goals are what you want. Standards are who you are. And when your identity rises, your life rises with it. When you raise your standards, you don't even need to force change. Change becomes automatic, inevitable, unstoppable, because you start behaving in alignment with the person you decide to become. Think about it. Any time in your life when something finally changed, when you finally lost weight, or stopped a bad habit, or started taking your dreams seriously, it wasn't because you suddenly learned something new. It was because your standard shifted from "this is acceptable" to "I refuse to live like this." People change instantly the moment their standards rise instantly. Look at your own life for a moment. Every result you currently have, your finances, your relationships, your health, your mind, your habits, is a reflection of your standards. You don't always get your goals, but you always get your standards. If your standard is to go to the gym occasionally, you'll have occasional results. If your standard is to show up every single day whether you feel like it or not, you'll have a different body, a different level of energy, a different life. Your standards define what you accept, what you demand, and what you refuse. Raising your standards means creating a new identity. It means saying, "This is who I am now." It means declaring to yourself that the old version of you is gone, the version with excuses, the version that waited for motivation, the version that accepted less than they deserved. Raise your standards and the old you dies instantly. But let me tell you something powerful. People don't base their standards on what they are capable of. They base them on what feels safe. They base them on past experiences, on failures, on fears, on comfort zones. And as long as you let the past define your standards, the past will define your future. If you want a new life, you must build it. You must demand more from yourself than anyone else could ever demand from you. You must set standards so high that your future self thanks you and your old self doesn't even recognize you. Let me ask you a question. What have you been settling for? You say you want success, but what do your daily standards say? You say you want discipline, but what does your morning routine say? You say you want financial freedom, but what do your habits say? Life does not respond to wishes, it responds to standards. Nothing will change for you until should becomes must. Should means maybe, must means certainty. Should means dreaming, must means action. Should means one day, must means today. When you turn your shoulds into musts, your entire destiny reshapes itself around your decision. And hear me now, raising your standards is not about perfection, it's about direction. It's not about being more than others, it's about being more than you were yesterday. It's not about competing with the world, it's about outgrowing the limited version of yourself. When you raise your standards, your life expands. When you drop them, your life contracts. People with high standards don't wait for motivation. They move because they've decided to become the kind of person who moves. They show up when it's hard. They show up when it's inconvenient. They show up because their identity demands it. Discipline becomes natural when your standards rise. Commitment becomes natural when your standards rise. Confidence becomes natural when your standards rise. Confidence doesn't come from achievement. Confidence comes from alignment. When your actions match your standards, you become unstoppable. You trust yourself, you believe yourself, you rely on yourself. You know deep inside that you keep your word. Nothing builds power like honoring your own standards. Look around at your life right now. Everything you have is a result of what you decided you were worthy of. If you want more, you must decide you are worthy of more. Worthiness is not a feeling, it's a decision. And once you decide you're worthy, you begin to behave differently. You stop begging, you stop chasing. You stop settling, you stop waiting, you start acting like someone who knows they deserve more from life. Your standards must be non-negotiable. The problem is not that people don't have standards, the problem is that people negotiate with their standard. They say, I'm going to wake up early, but then the bed is warm and they negotiate. They say, I'm not going to waste time, but then they scroll for hours and they negotiate. They say, I'm going to start building my future, but then fear shows up and they negotiate. Stop negotiating with your old self. Stop negotiating with your fears. Stop negotiating with your weakness. Your standards must become law. That is how you transform. Let me tell you the truth. Raising your standards will make you uncomfortable. Because the life you want is outside the life you currently have. Growth does not happen in comfort. Growth happens when you stretch, when you push, when you rise, when you demand more from yourself than the world demands from you. When you say, I will not stop until I become the person I've promised myself. Raise your standards and the world will feel the shift. Because when you rise, everything around you must rise. Your relationships change. Your circle changes, your habits change, your mindset changes, your opportunities change, even the way people treat you changes. The world responds to the energy of someone who refuses to settle. Most people never raise their standards because they fear the responsibility that comes with it. Because when you raise your standards, you have to stop blaming others. You have to stop blaming the past. You have to stop making excuses. You have to look in the mirror and say, my life is my responsibility. And that level of honesty is rare, but it's the birth of greatness. The moment you take responsibility for your standards is the moment you take responsibility for your future. Let's talk about identity, because identity is the core of standards. You will never rise above the identity you hold of yourself. If you see yourself as average, you will behave average. If you see yourself as weak, you will behave weak. If you see yourself as powerful, purposeful, and capable, you will behave like that person. Identity is not found, it is created, and you create it by raising your standards. This is who I am now. Say it, feel it, live it. This is the moment your new life begins. Every day when you wake up, ask yourself, what does the highest version of me do today? How does that version think? How does that version speak? How does that version act? What does that version tolerate? What does that version refuse? And then live as that version. Not tomorrow, not next week, not one day. Today, when you live according to elevated standards, you automatically separate yourself from the masses. Most people won't understand you. They'll say you're obsessed. They'll say you're too serious. They'll say you've changed, and they'll be right. You have changed because you decided you're done living below your potential. You decided that mediocrity is no longer acceptable. You decided that good enough is not enough. Greatness requires standards most people are not willing to adopt. That's why greatness is rare, but make no mistake, it's not rare because it's impossible. It's rare because it requires a level of self-demand that most people run away from, but not you, not anymore. Let me tell you something, life changing. The quality of your life is the quality of your standards. Raise your standards and you raise your quality of life instantly. Standards shape your habits. Habits shape your actions. Actions shape your results. Results shape your destiny. Everything begins with standards. People say they want success, but their standards say they want comfort. They say they want change, but their standards say they want convenience. They say they want greatness, but their standards say they want excuses. Your life will always follow your standards, not your words. If you truly want to change your life, raise your standards, raise your expectations of yourself, raise the level of discipline you are willing to hold, raise the amount of discomfort you're willing to push through, raise the level of commitment you bring, raise the level of consistency you demand. Imagine your life 1 year from now if you raise your standards today. Imagine your life 5 years from now if you refuse to settle. Imagine your life 10 years from now if you live every single day with higher expectations for yourself. Life changes in the long term through small daily standards consistently upheld. Don't underestimate the power of showing up every day. Don't underestimate the power of deciding, this is who I am now. Don't underestimate the power of refusing to go back to your old self, no matter how hard it gets. Your destiny is shaped by the standards you enforce when no one is watching, your discipline when no one claps, your consistency when no one praises you, your decisions when no one believes in you. That is where transformation is born, in the silent battles within yourself. Raise your standards so high that excuses cannot reach you. Raise your standards so high that fear cannot stop you. Raise your standards so high that doubt cannot shake you. Raise your standards so high that the old version of you no longer has a place in your life. You are capable of more than you know. You are stronger than you feel. You are more powerful than your past. And you are greater than your excuses. But you must decide, you must choose, you must commit. Because no one can raise your standards except you. Every breakthrough begins with one bold decision. I demand more from myself starting today. When you make that decision, life bends in your favor. Opportunities align, energy shifts, your mind awakens, your purpose becomes clear, because the universe responds to the person who refuses to settle. Raise your standards and everything around you will rise. Raise your standards and watch your life transform. Raise your standards and step into the life you were meant for. This is your reminder. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are not your fears. You are not your limitations. You are the standards you choose from this moment forward. Choose greatness. Choose discipline. Choose growth. Choose power. Choose you. Raise your standards and watch your destiny change forever.